The power structure, which I'm just on the verge of joining, is being shown to be bloody, guilty, criminal. And the momentum that's carrying me into it suddenly becomes a momentum that I see is carrying me to damnation. My task then becomes to somehow put on the brakes. I have to figure out a way to turn around.
Greg Manoff moved to New York's Lower East Side, where his immigrant grandfather had once sold frankfurters and knishes.
There were many old abandoned synagogues just in among the tenement buildings that Jews around the turn of the century had constructed. Here I was, a Jew. My grandparents had passed through and left their tracings here. This was a neighborhood of beginnings, a neighborhood of immigrants, and we came, in a sense, as immigrants back to America, you know, to sort of start all over and try to figure out where we fit in. Here I was, looking tattered and wondering what this 60 or 80 years of upward mobility had come to. The future was a blank. I had no idea where I was headed. I knew more about what I didn't want than what I did want.
For the third straight day, American jets have attacked targets near Hanoi in North Vietnam. The U.S. is now dropping a daily average of 3,000 pounds of explosives a minute, nearly equal to the World War II record.
The war continued to polarize the country. Some made impassioned cries for peace, but others wanted to push the war even harder.
I believe that if you belong to a country and you want to be part of that country, you support the country. You know, if you're going to involve 200,000 young Americans to fight a war that far off, do it. Don't sit there and let a country push you around.
For a 17-year-old kid, it was incomprehensible. It still is. It's hard to identify with a country where, you know, back in the United States, they're still making milkshakes and still frying hamburgers and still selling Oldsmobiles.
So far, we may have killed 1 million of them, mostly children. What do they think as we test out our latest weapons on them, just as the Germans tested out new medicine and new tortures in the concentration camps of Europe?
Someone once said, circumstances don't change people, they just unmask them. That may be true, but I think people do learn. I don't think I've ever allowed myself to be cajoled and fooled that way again.
We watched all of our dreams turn into their opposite. We dreamt of Americans coming together to decide what to do, and we watched them ripped apart. Now we're in for a Nixon period of time that would be very, very difficult to change. The Nixon White House made a list of 490 enemies. This suddenly hit every newspaper in the country. I was on that list. Clearly we were immoral, and clearly we were terrible people. Well, things like that catch up to you.